Hello everyone. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment saying where you're from and when you watched. That way, YouTube will continue to show you stories like this. Now, let's get started. Asterisk, after learning about the bloody past of the house and Emily's true identity, I no longer dared to take the presence of the haunted doll lightly. I no longer called it an antique or a collectible, but began to see it as a living entity. From the moment it returned to my bed, I knew it didn't want to leave me, and I couldn't leave it either. I decided to set up a night vision camera system. I mounted a small camera in the corner of the bedroom ceiling, another in the hallway, and the last one in front of the storage room door where I was hiding the doll. I wanted to verify whether what was happening was an illusion or if something was actually moving around my house every night. The cameras were all directly connected to my phone, so I could watch it at any time. The first night after the installation, I lay still and stayed awake. Every few minutes I checked the screen. Everything was fine. But at about 2:17 a.m., the camera in the closet started to pick up a signal. The screen flickered with unusual streaks of light. For a few seconds, the image was blurry. The doll was no longer in its original place. Instead, I saw a small, thin figure standing in front of the camera, her face completely obscured by darkness. Then the image disappeared. I rushed out of bed and ran straight to the closet. The door was still locked. I opened it. It was empty. The doll was gone. My heart was pounding. Sweat was pouring down my body. I went back to the bedroom. The light was still on, and then I froze. Emily was sitting on my bed, her back to the door, her long hair covering the back of her neck. I stood there for a few seconds, unable to move. Then, gathering all my courage, I approached. When I touched her shoulder, the doll immediately tilted its head to the side, its eyes wide open, looking at me as if it had been waiting for me. I screamed, threw it to the ground, and ran out of the room. The next morning, I reviewed the footage. Strangely, all the videos were gone. There was nothing on the hard drive or the app. I called Thomas to tell him. He came over and helped me check the camera system. But despite turning everything upside down, we couldn't find any footage that night. Thomas decided to stay overnight to check. He's quite practical and doesn't believe in psychics. We arranged 2 portable cameras, one under the bed and one fixed, opposite the sleeping area. That night, I slept on the sofa, while Thomas stayed in the room. Before going to sleep, he smiled and said that if anything happened, at least there would be clear evidence. Around 3 a.m., I was woken up by a loud scream. I rushed upstairs and found Thomas sitting on the floor, his face pale, his eyes wide open, and unblinking. In his hand was his phone, the screen showing live video from the camera. On the video, a blurry image appeared. A childish figure sitting at the end of the bed, holding a haunted doll. It slowly turned its head towards the camera. Even though the image was unclear, I recognized it as Emily. Thomas was speechless. I helped him out of the room, and he immediately asked to leave the house that night. Before leaving, he turned back to me and said, "That thing is not just watching you, it is living with you." After that night, I had no more visitors. I lived in isolation, haunted by the sound of small footsteps every night, the shadows passing by the window, and the feeling that someone was standing behind me when I looked in the mirror. I tried to find a way to break the curse. I took the doll to the nearest church, but as soon as I set foot on the premises, a strong wind blew through, knocking down the statue of the saint that was placed in front of the gate. The priest just looked at me, then shook his head and refused. to give a reason, I understood that even the sacred places did not want Emily's presence. I started reading books about exorcisms. In an old book I found online, there was a handwritten note that the soul trapped in a doll often appeared in parallel with a second shadow, an independent but bound entity. If that shadow appeared in reality, then the soul was strong enough to escape the host. I remembered the blurry video at night, the shadow standing next to the camera. I realized Emily was no longer confined to the doll. She was gradually materializing, and I was the only one who saw it. As I was writing these lines, the light in the room just flickered for the third time. Outside in the hallway, I heard the sound of small bare feet approaching. Even though the door was locked, I knew that she would still get in. I had no way to hide anymore. I needed to find out the origin of the doll. Needed to know what happened that fateful night 30 years ago. Maybe the past will have the answer to end this nightmare. Please watch Episode 5, Blood on the Bedsheet.